Morning friends, happy Sunday, how the heck you doing? And yesterday it was the wedding of the minor royal Peter Phillips, the guy that sold photos of his first wedding to Hello for £500,000. The corruption and deceit runs deep in this family, as we've already discussed. Get to the point, Martin. Of course Kate and William had to attend, and the press have been briefing us for weeks about how William's going to change the monarchy and how the York sisters, Beatrice and Eugenie, will be out in the cold because of their father's grifting behaviour and their own grifting behaviour, selling high teas in the Middle East for thousands of pounds, taking a massive cut of those profits. But surprise, surprise, Beatrice and Eugenie were at the wedding and were greeted lovingly by both Kate and William with cheek kisses exchanged as though nothing is ever wrong. So either two things are happening. William's briefing the press against them and is the smiling assassin in front of their face, or the media coverage is designed to set the narrative of what this family want you to believe. Because this family want you to believe that misdemeanors in this family are punished. And of course, we know that's not true. We know it's constant deception and deflection. And you can be who you want in this family and get away with literally almost anything.
I know Peter Phillips and Zara have a very different sort of royal life in a way than the rest. But this seems a comparatively intimate affair.
It's very... Can I say, I know Kemble really well because that's my local station. Right. It's a beautiful little place. The church is tiny, so it's not going to be any kind of... having the King and Queen there is fantastic if they're there. But I mean, it's not going to be like a Westminster affair. It's just going to be friends and family. And I'm kind of smiling to myself, thinking if there's a lot of media there's not a lot of space, so it's going to be cosy, if I can say that.
Well, the media will be kept outside.
Oh, absolutely.
But the fact that the Sussexes aren't coming, and not even Harry on his own, I mean, can he do any more to sort of alienate himself from the family? He's making himself the black sheep, isn't he?
Well, see, he absolutely. And the thing I was wondering is, because I know I obviously know them quite well, Peter and obviously Harry, and I was kind of thinking that I can almost imagine that there would have certainly been some kind of phone call, even though he may not have been invited. I still think that there would have been a discussion about it because they're close, and maybe Harry was probably aware that it wasn't a good idea to be there, because the thing is, it will overshadow. That's right, to overshadow the wedding, and obviously they don't want to do that. I would think they wouldn't want to. I'd hope they wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, isn't it? I would wonder whether he'd actually been invited at all for that reason.
Well,
but if they are quite close, then they could come to an understanding.
I think so, and I mean, if they spent time together over recent years, there's a lot of people kind of saying that he's picked the camp, they're picking camp. I don't think that's... I think it's very difficult. It's difficult for any family when you have a fallout, isn't it? Trying to pick sides. And I think also the royal family, everyone's watching what's going on. We're all interested in what's going on. So they've almost got to have poker faces with this.
What about the Yorks at this wedding? Eugenie and Beatrice, are they going?
Well, there's a rumour that they'll be there. So again, that'll be... I'm quite sure we won't see their father or mother there.
No, but no reason why they shouldn't be there, surely.
What, Beatrice and Eugenie?
Yeah, I mean, they're part of the same generation.
And again, they all got on. They're all very close. So I imagine that they will have been invited, and I think it's possible that they will go.
But you're right, that the photographers, wherever they are made to stand, will be after the shots of... if Harry were to go, there would be shots of William and Kate and what their faces look like. And as you say, it would be a shame they can't just smile and relax because they've got to remain poker-faced.
They've got to... It's so difficult. I always... when you kind of see them out and about and you see them kind of at the duties and, you can look at them, you can see the reactions, and it's difficult because if they make the wrong reaction, or you've even got lip readers now watching what's going on. Yeah. So it's really difficult for them. So I do feel for them.
They'll have to bring back fans.
Oh, yes.
So that they can whisper behind their fans.
You know what cracks me up about this whole situation? A wedding happened. An actual wedding. 2 people got married, families showed up, guests dressed up, photos were taken, cake was probably eaten, normal wedding stuff. And somehow the conversation still ended up being about the 2 people sitting thousands of miles away in California. At this point, you've got to laugh, because every time we're told Harry and Meghan don't matter anymore, the media immediately spends 3 days discussing Harry and Meghan. Make it make sense. Imagine your neighbor swears they don't care about their ex anymore. They've moved on, they're happy, totally over it. Then you catch them talking about that ex every single day. Did you see what they posted? Do you think they'll show up? What are they doing now? Why didn't they come? Buddy, you are not over that ex. And that's exactly what this feels like. The funniest part is the accidental honesty that slipped out during the TV discussions. One commentator basically suggested Harry may have stayed away because his presence could have stolen attention from the wedding. Wait, hold on, pause right there. If one man simply walking through a church door can hijack the headlines, then maybe he's not as irrelevant as some people keep claiming. You can't spend years saying nobody cares and then panic that somebody might show up and become the biggest story. That's like saying a football team is terrible while secretly worrying they'll beat everyone. Pick a lane. The contradiction is doing backflips. And here's what regular people see. Most of us have been to weddings. We know how this works. There's always that one relative everybody talks about. The cousin who might show up, the uncle who might start drama, the family member who isn't even there but somehow gets mentioned at every table. By dessert, they're practically the guest of honor without ever leaving their house. That's Harry and Meghan right now. They didn't attend, they didn't arrive late, they didn't pose for pictures, they didn't release a statement, they didn't sneak in through a side entrance. They literally stayed home. Yet somehow they still occupied a huge chunk of the conversation. That's not because they forced themselves into the story. It's because other people keep dragging them into it. Every single time. A birthday comes around. What does this mean for Harry and Meghan? A royal event happens. What are Harry and Meghan doing? Someone opens a new building. What does Harry and Meghan think? A dog sneezes near a palace fence. Royal experts react. At this point, I'm convinced if somebody burns toast at Buckingham Palace, somewhere a headline writer is asking whether Meghan influenced the toaster. The obsession has become impossible to ignore, and regular people notice these things. This is the part where the whole thing starts looking downright ridiculous. Seriously. For years, we've heard the same speech over and over again. Nobody cares about Harry and Meghan. They're irrelevant. The public has moved on. They're old news. Okay, if that's true, then somebody needs to explain what happened this week. Because the second people found out Harry and Meghan weren't going to this wedding, the media reacted like they had just canceled the World Cup. Suddenly, everybody had an opinion. TV panels started yapping, columnists started typing at lightning speed, social media detectives clocked in for overtime, experts appeared from thin air, and all of them were discussing people who weren't even there. Think about how funny that is. Harry and Meghan could probably announce they're spending Saturday eating pizza in sweatpants, and somehow it would become a 3-day national conversation. At some point, you've got to stop and ask a simple question. If nobody cares, then why is everybody talking? Regular people understand this immediately because we've all met that one person. You know the type, the coworker who claims they're completely over their ex. Don't even mention them. I never think about them. I'm done with that chapter. Then 20 minutes later, they're giving a 45-minute presentation about what the ex posted on Instagram. Come on, man, you're not fooling anybody. That's exactly how this whole situation feels. The louder some commentators shout that Harry and Meghan don't matter, the more they end up proving the opposite. Because attention doesn't lie, coverage doesn't lie, hours of television don't lie. If somebody is truly irrelevant, people don't build entire conversations around their absence. Their absence, not their appearance, not an interview, not a speech, not a photo, just the fact that they weren't there. That's the crazy part. Imagine being able to dominate headlines without even getting out of bed. That's some superhero-level influence. Most people have to show up to be talked about. Harry and Meghan apparently don't even need that. And here's where I actually give Harry some credit. If he knew his presence would turn the wedding into a circus, staying away might have been the most respectful thing he could do. Because let's be honest, had he attended, the headlines would have written themselves. Who looked at who didn't smile, who stood where, who blinked, who coughed, who adjusted their tie. Every tiny moment would have been treated like a national security briefing. The bride and groom would have been competing with a media feeding frenzy. Instead, Harry and Meghan stayed home, and somehow people still managed to make them part of the story. You almost have to admire the efficiency. No plane ticket, no public appearance, no speech, no photographs, no drama from them whatsoever. Yet the conversation still found its way back to California.
This was the moment the whole thing accidentally blew up in their faces, because during that discussion, Grant Harold basically said the quiet part out loud. His point? Harry may have stayed away because just showing up could have stolen attention from the wedding. Wait, what? Let's unpack that. Not because Harry was planning some grand entrance, not because Meghan was about to cause drama, not because they had a big announcement tucked away in their back pocket, just walking through the door. That's all. And somehow we're supposed to believe these are two people nobody cares about. Come on now. You can't tell me a singer has no fans while also worrying they'll sell out the stadium. Pick one. That's why the argument falls apart. If Harry and Meghan are supposedly irrelevant, then their arrival shouldn't matter. End of story. But if their presence alone could dominate headlines, social media, TV panels and newspaper columns, then clearly people are paying attention. A lot of attention. What Grant accidentally revealed is something regular people already figured out years ago. The Sussexes don't even have to say anything anymore. They can literally just exist, and somehow the conversation still ends up revolving around them. That's not irrelevant, that's influence. And the funniest part, the people trying hardest to convince everyone that Harry and Meghan don't matter keep providing evidence that they absolutely do. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You survived another episode of Harry and Meghan somehow become the story without even showing up. Seriously, at this point they could be sitting on the couch watching TV and somewhere a panel discussion would be breaking down what brand of popcorn they might be eating. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe and join the conversation below. I want to know what you think. Is this genuine news coverage, or has the obsession become bigger than the actual events themselves? As always, thank you for spending part of your day with me. I appreciate every single one of you.